Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating source, Osho's The Orange Book.
Mhm.
It's this huge collection of meditation techniques and, well, insights. And our mission today is to uncover some practical, maybe even surprising ways to approach meditation.
Yeah, approaches aimed at unlocking what Osho calls the greatest joy in life.
Exactly. And we
Yeah.
want to move beyond, the usual ideas about just sitting still and quiet.
And that's really the heart of Osho's vision here, isn't it? These aren't just like dusty old techniques.
Right.
He blends them with contemporary psychology. It's a chance to kind of exhaust our usual words of trying to meditate
Mhm.
and actually just land in the here and now. He calls them his unique prescriptions for modern folks, for people today.
Prescription, I like that.
So yeah, you need to come at this with a bit of an adventurous spirit, I think.
Definitely. And that focus on moving beyond the conventional really stood out for me right away. The book starts by kind of deconstructing meditation, defining it as a state of no mind, a state of pure consciousness with no content.
Which sounds pretty abstract at first.
It does, but he uses these great analogies like mind being constant traffic or a mirror covered with dust.
Those are vivid.
And he suggests we've actually lost this natural state, this sort of childlike meditative quality. Says we've been contaminated, polluted by the society.
The
What does he mean by polluted there?
Well, it's a strong word, but his argument is that our conditioning, our upbringing, society's rules, they all pull us away from just being present.
Ah, okay.
And to get back to that, he makes this really crucial distinction. Meditation is not concentration.
Okay, unpack that. That sounds important.
It really is. Concentration, the way we usually think of it, always has two things. There's you doing the concentrating.
Right, the effort.
And then there's the thing you're focusing on. That duality, that separation takes effort. It makes you tired. You can't keep it up forever.
Mm.
Meditation, though, is non-dual. It's about relaxation, letting go of will. It's pure presence, not tied to the past or worrying about the future.
So less doing and more being.
Exactly. It reminds me of Lao Tzu's Wei Wu Wei action through inaction.
Oh, yeah.
Or that Zen saying, sitting silently, doing nothing, the spring comes and the grass grows by itself. It's about allowing, not forcing.
And understanding that difference is huge for you, the listener, isn't it?
Yeah.
It changes meditation from feeling like a chore
Right.
to something more like a natural flow. It helps you avoid that frustration of, am I doing this right?
Totally. It unlocks a more effortless way in.
So if it's about flow, not force, how do you find your flow?
Mm.
Osho really pushes choosing a meditation that just appeals to you.
Mm-hmm.
He insists meditation should not be a forced effort. And it's interesting, he tried to create methods for different kinds of people.
Yeah, he talks about body-oriented, heart-oriented, and intellect-oriented people.
Right. And his meditations often seem to touch on all three, sort of move through them and then go beyond.
That personal connection is vital. And he gives some practical advice, too, for getting started.
Like what?
Like, setting up a special place at home. Doesn't have to be fancy, just a corner maybe. And picking a regular hour.
Consistency.
Yeah, he says doing that can actually create a hunger for meditation in your body and mind, like how your body knows when it's lunchtime.
Ah, okay, I get that.
But he's clear these are just mechanical resources, helpers. The goal is for meditation to become so natural you can do it anywhere.
There's a warning too, right?
Oh, definitely. A big one. Don't get obsessed with it because, as he says, obsession is the problem. Any obsession.
Right. So the takeaway for you listening is lean into what feels right for you. Don't force it. That's where the real progress starts, building naturally.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay, let's dive into some specific techniques. He starts right at the beginning of the day, like literally at dawn.
Yeah, with laughter.
The laughing meditation. He says it sets the trend for the whole day, makes life feel kind of wonderfully absurd.
It's simple, too. You wake up, stretch like a cat for a bit.
Eyes still closed.
Right. Then just laugh for 5 minutes.
What if you can't? What if you just don't feel like laughing?
Well, he has this other pretty intense suggestion for purification, he calls it.
Okay.
Drinking lukewarm salt water, a lot of
Yeah.
it, to cleanse the system, basically. He says it can help release blocked laughter, even tears.
Wow. Okay. That's direct, a real clearing out.
It is. And that idea of dynamic release carries over into movement, too. He sees meditation potential in things like running, jogging, and swimming.
Not just exercise, but meditation.
Exactly. He mentions this interesting thing about runners sometimes accidentally hitting turiya, that fourth state of consciousness.
Beyond waking, dreaming, sleep. Pure awareness.
Kind of, yeah. And his advice is to run like a small child. Keep it playful, spontaneous.
So it doesn't become robotic.
Right. Don't become an expert, he says, so you stay alert. If running gets automatic, maybe switch to swimming, you know? Keep that awareness fresh.
That makes sense. From laughter and movement, we then get into this really key Osho concept, catharsis.
Vital for modern people, he argues.
Why? What's it undoing?
The repressions of civilization, basically, all the stuff we bottle up.
And this leads to the big one, dynamic meditation. This was the daily morning practice at his ashram, right?
That's the one. The goal is to be active to such an extreme that activity simply ceases.
Okay, walk us through it. It sounds wild.
It is. 5 stages. First, 10 minutes of chaotic breathing through the nose, really fast, deep, irregular, builds energy.
Okay.
Second, 10 minutes of explosion, just let go. Scream, shout, cry, jump, shake, dance, whatever wants to come out, total catharsis.
Wow.
Third, 10 minutes of jumping with arms raised, shouting the mantra, hoo, 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 letting the sound hammer deep inside near the sex center.
Intense.
Fourth, 15 minutes of sudden stop, freeze, absolutely still. Whatever position you're in, just watch, be a witness.
Witnessing. Okay.
And finally, 15 minutes of celebration.
Yeah.
Music, dance, expressing gratitude.
That is a journey. It sounds incredibly challenging, especially if you're new to this.
It definitely is. But the intensity is the medicine, in Osho's view. He knows uncomfortable stuff might come up, physical pain, weird sensations, nausea.
And the instruction.
Just be a watcher. Don't fight it. Don't analyze it. Just observe it. It might disappear or even change into something else, like pleasure. The whole idea is you've got to throw all these clouds outside, the anger, the negativity, so you can access the clear sky within, the Buddha lands instead of the internal hells.
So it's like an emotional pressure washer.
Yeah, something like that. He even mentions specific things like pillow beating or, get this, pant like a dog.
Seriously?
Yep, as direct ways to release trapped anger.
Okay. So these dawn practices, they're not just about waking up the body. They're about clearing out the emotional clutter for the day. Giving space for the unconscious to release.
Precisely. Powerful stuff to start your day. It's about creating space for you.
So as the day moves on into morning and afternoon, the focus seems to shift. How do you bring meditation into everyday life?
Right. Osho explores turning, ordinary things into meditation, like music and dance.
Yes. He says the singer disappears, only the song remains.
Exactly. And the dancer must go. It's about total absorption. He has Nataraj meditation, which is basically dance as total meditation. Get lost in it, be playful.
Less structured, more flowing.
Yeah. And then there's this idea he calls the secret to making your whole life meditation: de-automatize.
De-automatize, break habits.
Break the unconsciousness and habits. His example is pretty radical, the smoking meditation.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How do you meditate while smoking?
It's about extreme mindfulness. You do every single step super slowly, with total awareness. Taking the pack out, tapping the cigarette, smelling it, lighting it, the feel of the smoke, every tiny detail. He claims that if you do this with total non-judgmental awareness, you'll eventually see the stupidity of it from the inside out. Not because someone told you it's bad, but through your own deep seeing.
That's a fascinating approach. Using awareness itself as the tool for change.
Exactly. And you can apply that to anything. Making tea, he suggests. Make ordinary tea an extraordinarily beautiful experience. Treat each step with reverence.
Bringing presence to simple acts.
Yeah.
He also mentions the stop method.
Yeah, just randomly walking down the street or whatever, suddenly freeze, stop everything for like half a minute, total presence right there. A sudden jolt out of autopilot.
I could see how that would work.
And building on that presence, Osho talks a lot about the power of simply sitting.
Like Vipassana.
Right, Vipassana or insight meditation, watching the breath, but he highlights watching the gaps.
The gaps between breaths.
Yeah, the tiny pause after you inhale, before you exhale, and the pause after you exhale, before you inhale again. He calls this gap the place where one can meet God.
Because the mind stops there.
Exactly. Breath stops. Mind stops. Pure stillness. He says it leads to knowing life inside life. And he notes that people new to Vipassana often feel this upsurge of energy.
And the lotus posture.
He mentions it helps conserve that energy. The cross legs create a circuit, kind of preventing the energy from leaking out.
Interesting. Okay, so sitting, breathing.
Yeah.
What about sight? Looking as meditation.
Yeah, the art of opening your eyes and dropping the dust, as he puts it, seeing without the usual mental labels.
How do you practice that?
Start with neutral things, he suggests. Look at a flower, a rock, a tree, but try not to think flower, rock, tree.
Ah.
Just see the raw shape, color, texture, look without words.
That sounds harder than it sounds.
It is. And then he takes it further, like looking into your headache.
Looking into it, not trying to get rid of it.
Right. Treat it like a message. Look at it closely. Feel its quality. Where is it exactly? What's its energy? He suggests the underlying cause might reveal itself, like maybe it's repressed anger.
Wow. Using awareness on discomfort itself.
And it applies to hearing, too. Listening. He calls it a deep participation between the body and the soul.
How is listening meditative?
It's about how you listen. Listen with sympathy, even to the noise of the marketplace. If you listen without resistance, without judgment, even noise can become a kind of melody. The ego, the resistance, dissolves.
So it's about the quality of attention again.
Always. And one more for this part of the day, the inner smile.
An inner smile.
Yeah, feeling a smile that starts deep in your belly, not just on your lips. Like a flower opening inside, radiating outwards. An existential smile.
Okay, so these daytime practices are really about weaving awareness into everything, turning the mundane into something sacred for you, the listener, finding stillness even when you're active.
Exactly. Meditation isn't just for the cushion.
Right. So as the day winds down, evening and night, the energy shifts again, right?
It does. Osho introduces Kundalini meditation as the sunset sister meditation to the morning dynamic one.
Sister meditation. How does it work?
It's gentler, but stay active initially. It involves shaking. 15 minutes of just letting your whole body shake, loosen up.
Why shaking?
To allow your solidity, your feeling of being fixed and rigid, your rock-like being, he calls it, to just melt, flows, become liquid, fluid. It prepares you for the stillness stages that follow.
Letting go of tension.
Then there's his take on prayer.
Which is different from just asking for things.
Very different. He sees prayer as an openness towards God or existence or whatever term you prefer. It's not asking. It's a state of deep expectation, but with no desire.
Like an open receptivity.
Exactly. An energy phenomenon that's its own reward. He describes a specific prayer meditation. Raising your hands to the sky, feeling energy pour in, letting your body tremble if it wants, then bending down to kiss the earth. Uniting the above and below.
That sounds quite beautiful, actually.
Yep, this is. And then for a different kind of exploration, he talks about fantasy as meditation.
Fantasy, like daydreaming.
Not quite passively, more like actively using imagination. One technique is called be an animal.
Be an animal.
Yeah. For a set time, you just act like an animal, crawl, roar, whatever feels right. It's about releasing that primal animal energy we suppress, becoming a little wild.
Okay. Letting go of sophistication.
Right. Another simple one is practicing all is unreal while you're watching a movie. Just keep reminding yourself, this isn't real, it's just light on a screen. A way to practice detachment from projections.
Interesting mind game. What about more focused techniques?
Oh yeah, mirror gazing. This one's pretty intense.
Staring into your own eyes?
For 40 minutes straight. He says after a few days, your face starts to change in the reflection. You might see new shapes, different faces, maybe even past life impressions.
Whoa.
Until eventually, maybe, there's no face in the mirror at all. Just emptiness. An encounter with the unconscious.
That sounds potentially unsettling.
Could be, yeah. It's deep work. He also mentions meditation on light, visualizing light filling you, and tretak.
Tretak.
Yeah.
Gazing at a flame.
Exactly. Staring at a candle flame without blinking until tears flow freely. It's meant to still the mind and activate the third eye, the center of intuition.
Lots of visual focus there. And then love. How does love fit in?
Love is crucial. Osho says love always follows meditation and vice versa. They're deeply linked.
How so?
He believes that as meditation deepens, what he calls illusory loves, possessive, needy attachments start to fade away.
Making space for something else.
Yes, for a real, unmotivated sharing of your being, your joy, that just radiates out naturally. He even suggests a practice. Radiate love. Sit quietly and just fill your room with the feeling of love, like a vibration.
Filling the space with loving energy.
And for couples, there's a specific lovemaking meditation.
Okay.
Sitting together in darkness first, breathing in sync, letting lovemaking happen spontaneously by itself, not forcing it. And the key is witnessing, even during the act.
Witnessing during sex. How do you even start with that?
He suggests starting with simpler things first, like practice witnessing while you're just walking. Then apply it to more complex activities, eventually even lovemaking. It brings awareness into intimacy.
Okay. One more evening one mentioned is Divavani meditation.
Ah, yes, the divine voice. He calls it a latihan of the tongue.
Not a hint.
It's like a spontaneous spiritual exercise. You basically just make nonsense sounds like gibberish or talking in tongues, letting sounds come out without conscious control.
What's the purpose of that?
To relax the conscious verbal mind very deeply, bypass the censor. He says it leads to profound peace and deep sleep afterwards.
Wow. So these evening and night practices really open up different dimensions, emotional, spiritual, relational, ways for you to connect differently, find deeper rest.
Definitely exploring the deeper layers.
So after all these techniques, this huge variety, what's the final word? Where does it all lead?
Well, Osho is very clear. Meditation is a long journey and there is no shortcut.
No quick fixes.
No. And all these methods we've talked about, the laughing, the shaking, the watching, the dancing, they're all just preparations
Preparations for what?
for that moment when you don't need a technique anymore, when you can simply sit doing nothing, desiring nothing, pure being.
The state itself.
Right. And here's the paradox he points out. When meditation flowers, there is simply nobody to take note of it.
Because the ego, the observer, has dissolved.
Exactly. It's a state of no self, no desire, where blessings, benediction, just arrive like waves. He insists meditation is your birthright.
Something innate we reclaim.
Yes. And it's a medicine you use to become whole, but eventually you have to be able to throw the medicine away, like kicking away the ladder once you've climbed up.
You don't cling to the method.
You don't cling. The method serves its purpose, and then you let it go.
So the ultimate message for you listening is to embrace this as a journey, not just striving for some goal, but an ongoing unfolding of who you really are. It promises this profound sense of self-transcendence, going beyond your usual limits.
Beautifully put.
What an incredible range we've covered today. Just scratching the surface of Osho's Orange Book, from waking up laughing to making tea into a meditation, watching your breath, gazing in a mirror, even love-making as a practice. All these paths pointing towards your own inner joy.
It really hammers home that meditation isn't some separate activity you do for an hour.
Right. It's a quality.
It's a quality that can infuse everything you do, every moment of your life.
Yeah.
And that leaves us with a pretty deep question to ponder, doesn't it? For you, the listener. If meditation is the way to quiet the mind
that often creates our world.
Right.
Wow.
Then what happens? What new world, what new reality emerges when meditation isn't something you do anymore, but just how you are? When it becomes your natural state of being.
That's a big one to sit with. Take that thought with you. We really encourage you to reflect on that, maybe explore some of these practices if they resonate, and just discover your own unique way towards deeper awareness and hopefully that greatest joy in life.